Writing and evaluating expressions mini lesson. So let's first go over some definitions. The word sum. That means that you are going to be adding. So find the sum of 3 and 4. 3 plus 4, of course, is 7. So the sum is the answer to an addition problem. Difference, subtraction. The difference of 9 and 5 is 4. Difference. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. The product of 6 and 8 is 48. Product. Quotient. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. Now, quotient, there's several different ways we can look at it. Also with product. So let me get back to product. Product could be this. Whenever you have a number and a set of parentheses, you just multiply those. The product could be this. A raised dot indicates multiplication. And here where we have this x. If we had a variable, which is a letter or symbol, maybe shape, that replaces a number in a math problem, so like if you had triangle plus 2 equals 5, triangle is equal to 3. But now that we're in middle school, we have x plus 2 equals 5, where x still equals 3. When you have a variable and you have a number next to a variable, this also means to multiply. So if you see 3x, that means 3 times x, whatever value x is. So going back with these equations or these expressions here, if I had if x equals 4, that also would be 3 times 4. So I could write 6 times 8, 6 times 8, 6 times 8, and if x equaled 8, 6 times 8. All of those mean multiplication. All right, division. So if I have 5 divided by 6, that can also be written as 5 divided by 6. All fractions mean divide. Write the denominator outside. So this could also be written as this, add a decimal point and zeros. So we've got different ways to write the same operations. Addition and subtraction, pretty straightforward, but these, as we get more difficult, the ways we can write them get more complex. So a term is a number, a variable, or the product of a number and a variable separated by an addition or subtraction sign. So a number, 6. A variable, x, or the product of a number and a variable, 6x. So I could say 6 plus x minus 6x. These are 3 terms. Factor. Factors are numbers you multiply together. So 3 times 4, 3 and 4 are factors. But we also talked about if we had 6 and 8 and we tried to find the greatest common factor, we would divide each of these by 2. And so the greatest common factor, the biggest number that they have in common with one another, is 2. So 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. The greatest common factor is 2. So factors are numbers you multiply together. So 7 times 8, 7 and 8 are factors. The product of 7 and 8 is 56. And finally, coefficient. Coefficient is a number, a variable is being multiplied by. So 2x, 2 is the coefficient because this means 2 times x. 1/4 x, 1/4 is the coefficient. So I'm going to say that 2 is the coefficient, 1/4 is the coefficient. If I have the number letter x, there's always a mystery 1 in front of it. So the coefficient of x in this case is going to be 1. Okay, order of operations. Order of operations is used to evaluate any numerical expression. For expressions with variables, you substitute the value of the variable and then use order of operations. So there are different ways to remember order of operations. There are grouping symbols like parentheses, braces, brackets. A fraction bar is a grouping symbol. Then we simplify our exponents, and remember exponents mean repeated multiplication. So if I had 2 to the 3rd power, that means 2 times 2 times 2. Then we do multiplication and division from left to right. It does not matter which one comes first. We go from left to right. And finally, we do addition and subtraction also from left to right. So let's go to the second page. All right, so if I'm looking at this expression and I'm asked to evaluate it, the first thing I'm going to look for are my grouping symbols. So my grouping symbols, remember I said that your grouping symbols could be parentheses, brackets, or braces, brackets, or a fraction bar. So I see that I have a fraction bar, so I'm going to simplify that. So I'm going to write everything over here. So I'm going to have 9 to the 2nd power plus 3 times, remember that means multiplication, 9 minus 5, which is 4, over 4 minus 8. So the first thing I did was I did my grouping symbol, and that was that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to see, do I have any grouping symbols? Do I have any exponents? So now this isn't considered a grouping symbol anymore because it's a fraction. This was a grouping symbol because it had a math problem in the numerator. All right, so now I look at my exponents. Well, 9 to the 2nd power means 9 times 9 plus 3 times 4 over 4 minus 8. So 9 times 9 is 81 plus 3 times 4 over 4 minus 8. All right, so now I have to keep going, and 4 over 4 is equal to 1. So I have 81 plus 3. Oh, I did the exponent first because it was going left to right. Times that minus 8. And now I'm going to look here. Do I have any more grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have multiplication or division? Yes, I do, right here. So I'm going to do that. So it's going to be 81 plus 3 minus 8. Now, do I have any grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have any multiplication or division? No. So I'm going to add or subtract from left to right. That brings me here, and then finally here. So following the order of operations. And then finally, I said that we are going to evaluate, which means we are going to substitute this value of 3 in every time we see an x in this expression. So 6x to the 2nd power plus 8, where x is 3. So I'm going to replace the x with a 3. So it's going to be 6 times, because remember I told you when you have a number and a variable next to each other, it means you're multiplying, 3 to the 2nd power plus 8. So now I'm going to just evaluate this and figure out what the value of this expression is. So do I have any grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? Yes. So that's where I'm going to begin. So I know that 3 to the 2nd power means 3 times 3, which I know is 9. So I'm going to put 6 times 9 plus 8. Grouping symbols? No. Exponents? No. Multiplication? Yes. 6 times of 9 is 54 plus 8. 54 plus 8 is 62. So the answer to this expression is 62. So this part of the test will be your calculator inactive part of your test. That's why we're taking our time in doing this. All right, let's look at this expression. Now we've got a variable called b, and every time we see a b, we're going to replace it with the number 10. So I'm going to rewrite my expression, 3 plus 10 minus 5 times 2. Do I have any grouping symbols? Yes, that's where I'm going to begin. 3 plus 5 times 2. Do I have any grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have any multiplication or division? Yes. That's where I go now. So I'm going to do this multiplication, and 5 times of 2 is 10. Do I have any grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have any multiplication or division? No. Now I'm going to add or subtract starting on the left. 3 plus 10, 13. Okay, final one. Replace all of these values. So look, I've got A is 3, B is 4, C is 5, and D is 6. So I'm just going to write them underneath so I don't get confused. 3 times 4 plus 5 times 6. So grouping symbols, yes, right here. So I've got 3 times 9 times 6. Exponents, no. Multiplication or division, yes, from left to right. So 3 times 9 is 27. 27 times 6. So 27 times 6. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 4 is 16. So the answer for this one is 162.